Welcome to the Flickering Torch podcast, as I'm already tongue-tied today from a long day. It's been a long time, obviously, because life sucks and always gets in the way. So those of you who still continue to listen, wow. Appreciate your assistance and your patience. This is Mr. Dead Scott.
And Smithus.
And we are going to, of course, be talking about the one thing that we didn't mention we were going to talk about, but is on everybody's mind, of course, and that is the Pokemon Go.
Yay, Pokemon!
Yay, Pokemon! Yeah, so what is Pokemon Go? Really, do we have to talk about that? I mean, I would imagine everybody knows. Those of you who don't know, I'm surprised you're listening. But kudos. Yep. I appreciate it. And so Pokemon Go, and I'm going to toss this over to you.
Basically, use your Android, iOS phone to use a Pokemon app that is augmented reality. You go around the world using your GPS and screen, and you locate Pokemon and catch them. You'll also gather items from Pokemon stops or Pokestops, which are usually art pieces, memorials, anything that...
Historical locations.
Historical, yeah. And then you also have gyms, which you battle for. And you do all this by getting, while gaining XP, different types of Pokemons, items, things like that to continue your adventures.
Yep. Yeah, and then those of you who keep taking over my cemetery that's next to my work, we're going to have some words one day when I find you.
But so the system itself, like I said, you have your phone, you have to have your GPS enabled and cell service,
and the game on constantly.
Yeah,
it does not take multitaskers. Sorry guys, I feel your pain. I would love to just let it sit there in the background while I'm doing other things. But it requires your full, undivided attention.
Yeah, I wish you could do it screen off. But right now, yeah, you have to have it on. No screen off. There is a power save mode if you tilt it down. But if you don't have your, your screen setting on for a while, you're going to be opening the app or having to touch the screen a lot, which gets into the battery stuff later. But use GPS. It locates... in our area, it's pretty easy to get signal anywhere.
Yeah, thankfully, I don't have much of a problem. GPS signal, a couple places I've found struggle a little bit, but they still have a signal.
Yeah, even in buildings, I do pretty well.
Most buildings I do.
So it relies on GPS a lot. Use the GPS. To get near Pokemon, you have a certain radius to find, locate, spot, however you want to...
sightings, locations.
Sightings, yeah. They keep changing it. Nearby sightings.
Yeah, one day we'll have a good system for that, and I know they're trying, and, of course, everybody's go-to is pitchforks and torches on, how could they mess up a game from the start? Because we don't have history of that at all nowadays of, day one issues or day one DLC or day one startup problems or...
No Man's Sky, day one patch.
Yeah. Or, servers going down, as in the case of Pokemon. Because you and I got a late start into it.
Yes.
And it's my fault you got into it.
Which I'm glad you did.
Oh, thank God.
No, I am. I was against it because when it was released, it was all people would talk about. And to me, that's annoying. I like it and people coming together, but at the same time, it's like... There is too much when sometimes you don't want Pokemon, especially if you're not into it, like you're not playing it. It gets annoying to see this stuff over and over again. It was like the internet was obliterated by Pokemon stuff.
It is the latest fad. Goodbye Sparkle Beards, goodbye Fry memes, goodbye, help me out here, I don't know, planking. Oh God, that was a while. Yeah.
I mean... It's great, though. I actually enjoy it. I'm glad you brought me into it. It gives me something to use my phone for, mobile-wise, because I don't. I've tackled Hearthstone here and there, left, came back, some RPGs, but nothing. This I actively been using for, 3 weeks now, I think, at least.
And I've been a mobile gamer for quite some time due to, as you guys heard me talk about, Record Keeper for Final Fantasy and other games like that. Originally, I resisted hardcore.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, I'm a one mobile game person. Like, this thing takes up enough of my time as is. It's hard enough to balance it with work, home, and whatever free time I do possess, which surprisingly is a fair amount. But yeah, I've been a mobile gamer for a long time, and when this thing popped up, two of my buddies are like, oh, let's go hit up this Pokestop location. It's got, 3 Pokestops together, and you can just come along, hang out, and BS with us. And, I realized all the camaraderie of everybody there. Like, people were shouting when, like, the lure modules, which attract Pokemon, went down, and someone would shout, like, I got it! And, like, a new one would pop up. And, like, we were just sitting in the car with the windows down because it was a nice night, just, you know, cracking jokes, BSing, and, like, you know, the guy next to us was cracking jokes as well, and we started talking to the other guy in the car next to me, and it was a really cool experience. And it's like, wow, like, we're actually outdoors for starters. I'm not in front of my computer. We're not on Skype, TeamSpeak, Vent, whatever channel you use. And it's just good old-fashioned human interaction with a tie-in of a digital aspect.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is encouraging. This is kind of a good thing, if you will. Like, yeah, I heard all the stories about, you know, like, which we'll get into this later. There's thousands of them.
Yeah.
But it was... yeah, and so I kind of just bit the bullet, and I'm like, oh, screw it, you know, I'll try it for a couple days, and dude, hooked. And with
It's
that,
easy. Like, it's
not
not
so
just
easy.
a subtle. It's like suddenly you're having fun and you're like, dang it, I'm hooked. It's it's like there's no middle ground there. It's like instant.
Within, for me, like the first, because I started playing when I was on call for one weekend, so I was stuck at work, and I didn't realize work was a Pokestop, and it's like, yes.
Yeah.
And so, like, 3 hours in, I was sold. Like, it was easy, it was fun, it was amazing what I could catch, because close as I was to certain things, it was great. And so the cool thing with that is kind of the tie-in effect to nostalgia. Because for me, the last time I played a Pokemon game, like, to its entirety, was Red and Blue, and I actually had Blue.
Best games.
Yeah, and they were the first ones. And so, like, for me, it's a total nostalgia trip, because it's like, oh, yeah, I remember that one, or, oh, I forgot about that, or, you know, like, holy crap, I caught a Cubone. Like, that would take me X number of hours into the game to even get close to one of those.
Yeah.
You know, like, when I caught a ghost Pokemon near the local Elks Lodge, I was in disbelief, one, that they were there, but then it kind of made sense a little bit with their aging population.
Yeah.
But it was so cool. It's like, there's a Ghastly there, yes, you know.
Yeah.
And it was just fun, and but it was harmless at the same time. Like, I wasn't hurting anybody.
Nope.
I wasn't driving. Like, I was in the passenger seat, just having a good time. And, like, you know, the conversation in the car anyway was going stale, so it's like, oh, I'll just see what's around. And it was great, you know. Like, and I'm sure if I had other people who were playing with me, which slowly we're getting more of that, it would be awesome. One of us.
I'm the same way. Like, the nostalgia is great. I haven't played since Gold and Silver came out.
Okay.
So I love the Red and Blue, and I ended up getting Yellow.
What kid didn't play Yellow?
Yeah, I mean, I was, you know, I was a kid when I was playing it, so I like, oh, Yellow, Pikachu, you can start with that, oh my bejesus.
And he follows you
know.
around, and you can make him be happy or sad, yeah.
Yeah, and then I got, you know, what is it, Silver and Gold?
Yeah.
And it kind of fell off there because it's like, okay, this is good, it's still fun, but it didn't have that same capture, and the Pokemon designs were a lot more weird.
Yeah, those later gens got kind of strange.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't bad, but as time goes on, if you look at the designs, you're like, what in the hell is going on? But I love that it brings nostalgia back, like a good nostalgia effect. Although as I got older, I'm like, it's kind of a thing I want to keep in my childhood. But they implement it really well for adults to enjoy. Where it's not too kiddish.
And again, with like the ease of the system and using it, like anyone even people who aren't fans of Pokemon in general, can pick it up and play it no problem. I mean, I've seen people you'd never expect to be interested in Pokemon catching Pokemon.
Yeah. And you don't get the title of like hardcore geekery or anything because you're collecting cards or anything. No, you're just using your phone to catch virtual, you know, because people always give you a weird friend, like, oh, you're collecting Pokemon cards, you know. It's
like, or like, you know, you're walking around with like your Game Boy, and it's just like, oh, I wish I brought my Game Boy, and it's like, okay, that was clearly a stab at me, but whatever. You know, but that's the thing, everyone uses their phone.
Yeah.
And so it's really easy to, quote, conceal it and pretend that you're not playing Pokemon. Oh, I'm just using a podiater on my phone, you know, like, oh, I'm just checking my numbers, you know, like, stupid Charmander getting the ball.
That's the brand. The brand is Charmander.
Yeah, Charmander, yeah. It's European, though. You won't find it on the App Store.
Yeah. But everybody's doing it, so it's like you don't have to. So that's what I'm kind of glad is it blew up, like, big time, because now everybody loves it. It's like that level of geekery and stuff can go out to the wide public, and you don't have to be like, ooh, ashamed, you know, for enjoying something like that. It's really great. I think. But also ties into like what is it doing to gamers?
Yes.
So it gives them something to do for one, exercise.
What?
Yeah.
You mean that big ominous orb in the sky that is really burny and hot, and we should fear it, but I don't think we should. But I'm not certain.
Exactly.
What's that called again?
A moon? I think it's a moon.
Uh,
See, I got you. It could be both.
Oh man, we gotta Google this. We'll be right back.
But yeah, no. So sunlight is good. Yeah. Walking is even better. So actually seeing a lot of people walking on my breaks now after on work is great. I do it myself. I started walking at least 3 times a day, and it's short, little roundabout. I mean, as much as I want to be away from work at times, it's good that I'm not gone too long. I think they'd get suspicious. But, I hit the Pokestop as I go. It's nice. Make a phone call, too, while I'm doing it. So it's really nice to get out. My home area is not quite great with all the weirdos around to go walking at any point in time, it seems. So that's the point of living in the mountains next to some weird people.
Yeah, whereas here, where I live, in Chateau de Discat, it's a little bit easier because I've done so much more walking than normal. Normally, I can be coaxed out to go for a quick little walk, when the weather's a little cooler or it's nicer. But nowadays, it's like, hey, let's just go for a walk. And I've probably walked close to 15, 17 kilometers at this point and hatched a couple eggs in the process, which is cha-ching. But my average walking ratio has gone up significantly because of the game. And even if there's nothing to catch, because I am a little bit on the outskirts of town, the walking itself is totally worth it. There's a Pokestop about 12 blocks from where I live. I walk there, get a refresh, maybe get an egg, walk a couple more kilometers, usually average about 3 or 4, depending on how adventurous I feel. Yeah. And go from there. And it's awesome. It's really cool. It's it's getting people out and about, and I can't not have a problem with that.
And it's making people socialize. Besides getting out, I mean, people are grouping up and socializing. I talk to my coworkers about it. I have a specific chat room just to BS about it, which is cool because I don't usually talk to these people. And seeing them out and about and just say, "Oh, hey, catch anything good?" They're willing just to tell you what they find. And I haven't gone to Pokestops and stuff to know other people doing it other than my work,
which you'll experience tonight when we go to my haunt.
Yeah.
And it's cool because you'll hear people say dude, there's an Aber over here, and just people book it. I mean, everybody just streamlines that direction.
I find it weird if people drop and run. I can see leisurely strolling because it's you have a 15-minute spawn, you literally don't need to run.
Oh, see, that was early in the game when people didn't realize that. An Abrock or something appeared. I can't remember what Eakin's how to pronounce the evolved name of it. But someone just announced that, and I saw 15 people just kind of leisurely / kind of in a hurry jog. Yeah. Because it was a little bit down the way, but it was funny.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I've seen videos of people not flash mob, but basically just instantly just merge of tons of people, and I find that weird. But we're not in a super heavily populated area, so it doesn't quite happen.
Exactly. I mean, if we were in a metropolitan city. And because we all saw the video of the rare Pokemon that popped up in Central Park. Yeah. And it was a swarm, because I can't describe it any other way than a swarm of locusts. Mosh pit. Oh my god, I feel bad for anybody in Central Park trying to enjoy Central Park. Yeah. During that time frame.
All the bums on the benches.
This is my house. Those poor souls.
Get away from my Jack Daniels.
So obviously the game is very easy to play. I mean, it's a great pro for the game. It's easy to play. It's easy, not so easy to put down, but easy to play, easy to pick up, easy to enjoy.
Open the app, make sure your GPS is on. You walk around, vibrates. You flick your Pokeball at it. Either catch it or you don't. A lot more not catching lately since they made it harder. You level up. You get eggs from Pokestops along with items that you just walk by, art or historical pieces, which you get potions and revives for battling at gyms, or you get eggs which hatch Pokemon depending on the rarities, depending on what kind of egg and how long you walk. So there's the walking feat. Really easy. You literally drag your finger and tap here and there.
Yeah, it's not heavy strain. It's not holding a controller. It's not needing to be in a Wi-Fi signal.
You don't even need to focus that much.
Not really.
You just tap your screen once in a while to keep it on, but you literally keep your phone down until it vibrates.
Yeah, I mean, I got a forearm guard that like my phone slides into this sleeve, and touchscreen no problem activation with it. And the best part is like, as I dropped a box, when it's in the sleeve and my arm goes down, it goes into battery saver mode when I'm walking. When it vibrates, I just lift my arm up, and all of a sudden just pops back up into play, and it's golden. There's no problems.
Battery saver mode.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that.
No problems. Liar.
No problems for me. I'm sorry for those of you who experienced that.
Yeah. Which, speaking of the battery saver mode, I guess that would tie into the battery life and usability of it.
Yeah. Pokemon Go is a cruel, cruel mistress on your phone's battery. I have to put the screen setting to the absolute darkest setting brightness, if that makes any sense how I worded that. Not drinking. This might be my problem. Yeah, I had to put it to the lowest brightness setting, and then I have to kill all other apps.
Yep.
And then use battery saver mode to get the most out of it.
Yeah, because if you leave it on for any extended period of time, I mean...
Oh, percentage-wise, it just drops.
If you leave it if you leave it in the background, even like you just go to the home screen, leave it in the background, and you turn your screen off, just leaving that in the GPS on, you'll drop 30% within like an hour, maybe 2, being generous. So it's a real consumer of it. So what I recommend is definitely force killing it when you're not using it and turning the GPS off. Use battery saver. Although battery savers built into phones can really kind of hamper your performance
just a bit,
but it's a battery drain, so I'd recommend charging often and bringing a battery pack if you can.
Yeah, external chargers are great. I see most people who are really avid players with external chargers. It got me to buy one. I got a great one for like $20.
Yeah, but it's not required. If you're not gonna do heavy, or you're not gonna do it like a lot at a time, you could go with 50% battery, sit there for an hour, and then just call it a night and still have juice. So, I mean, it's not required. Like I said, it's really easy to use. It does put a strain on your battery, and quickly.
No, and it's just as time goes on, it may get better. It may not. Who knows? It is kind of a high-performance game a little bit.
Yeah.
You just have to kind of weigh the pros and cons, and, of course, not kill your battery in the process, because you don't want to play, try to go home, be in an emergency situation, and guess what? Your phone's dead.
Yeah. And that kind of leads us to bugs, because there are bugs and there
are Caterpies and Weedles and all those Pokemon. They're everywhere, man. Everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, they're everywhere.
Is there a cockroach Pokemon?
Not yet. Give it time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know the other gens.
The Pidgeys and the Rattatas are like
rats with wings. Same thing.
Exactly. But that leads into actual bugs. So, the app runs pretty smoothly, especially with their recent update. It's been getting more smooth with every update. It's been getting a little bit better with battery. The power saver mode built into the app itself, where you tilt the screen down and blacken and you tilt it back up, would actually freeze my game and I'd have to force close, drawing more battery life, trying to get that thing booted up, because it takes a second to boot up. And then there's been stuff like they recently fixed it when you throw the Pokeball inside the little ring to catch the Pokemon.
Oh, those drive me nuts. I got so many greats and nice throws and no reward.
And it would be harder to get them. You could get right on the edge and it still wouldn't qualify.
It drove me nuts.
Pokemon would disappear a lot easier. You'd throw like a level freaking 10 combat power, and then it would bolt after you miss somehow.
The weakest Pokemon would just be like, yo, peace, dog, I'm out.
Which makes sense for Abras, because they do that in the actual Pokemon game.
Yeah, that was hard. You had to paralyze them or sleep them.
Yeah.
Like, right out of the gate.
And so this one's like, if you don't Raspberry him, throw it, and get it, see ya.
Yeah.
It teleports out. But like, and they've fixed that to an extent. They still made it a lot harder, but I'm pretty sure they fixed the bolting of them
I think they did that for a couple of reasons. Someone commented saying that was like, it brought more significance to catching Pokemon. Like, you actually felt proud about catching it, because like in the game, like brand new one pops up, if it's dumb luck or if it just appears for the sake of appearing. You throw that ball and you're like, you're biting your fingernails, you're like hoping and praying, fingers crossed, elbows crossed, legs crossed, eyes crossed, like you do the down B or whatever the Pokeball trick is everybody talks about that clearly doesn't work, but we all do it. You're just hoping and praying for this Pokemon, and like, some people say it brings a little bit more of that kind of old school feel to it. Like, hey, like, it makes me really want to catch it. Yeah. Some people, it's a total annoyance, and I don't blame them.
It's, well, see, like the actual Game Boy games, you used to weaken them.
Right.
So you could get it to like a skill, like you weaken them certain attacks, get it to low, catch, no problem. This is kind of just like dumb luck, randomness. They did it to make the game harder and less just like, oh yeah, you instantly catch everything, and to increase longevity. The harder it is to catch Pokemon. But the thing is they didn't really compensate or fix it like giving more Pokeballs to people, unless you're around a lot of Pokestops.
And even then, you can run out of them pretty fast.
Yeah, so rural people, you're screwed.
Oh god, I feel so bad for people in rural areas.
Yeah, me. I'm always out of Pokeballs. I maybe carry 4 or 5 at a time, even after hitting Pokestops, because I catch 1 or 2 Pokemon a day, and I'm out. You know, so if I'm not around a lot of Pokestops, I'm done. You know, so I think they should really. Right now, they give you maybe 3 Pokeballs, sometimes 4 if you get like a certain spin.
Yeah, depending on your spin, which I believe is random, because I've seen 5 items drop, I've seen 3 items drop, I've seen 4.
I get 3s, hardly ever 4s. I've never seen a 5.
Oh, I've gotten like 4 or 5s.
Really?
They weren't anything special. It was like a bunch of Pokeballs or like a bunch of like revives. And like I've got revives coming out of my eyeballs at this point.
Yeah.
Because I do gym battles, just not as many. And usually by the time like I get my break or my lunch break to try to do a gym battle, for those of you taking my cemetery, I can't get there in time, and there's something so high level that it's just a waste of time to throw fodder at it.
Yeah. See,
you know?
The thing is like they really need to up the Pokeballs given. I mean, at least 3 minimum.
When you level up, they do give you bonus balls occasionally.
Yeah, but like the in between.
Oh yeah.
Is like it's a huge grind now that the updates came that made it harder. They should give you at least 3 minimum. I don't think 2 minimum or 1 when you get items a ton is enough.
Yeah,
I think 3 to 5 period. 3 minimum with items maybe. Who cares about?
Now, when you say like 3 minimum, do you mean like guaranteed 3 Pokeballs, or do you mean like based on your trainer level, like 3 Pokeballs, but a chance to get like one of those 3 is a Master Ball, or one of those 3 is an Ultra Ball?
It's
or a Great
guaranteed
Ball?
3 any Pokeballs, any sort of Pokeballs, just guaranteed 3, and then have the additional potions and revives and crap on top of that, or eggs, but up to 5 Pokeballs. Kind of reward them a bit more if they're going to make catching harder.
Right.
So let them waste their resources trying to catch really hard Pokemon, but at least give them the chance to, you know.
Yeah, and again, you know, depending on your proximity to a stop, or, you know, for me, it's a piece of cake at work, because at my desk, I just fire it up, and it's like, oh, there's a stop. 5 minutes later, there's a stop. And
mine down the street, so I get like 2 every walk, and like I said, I only go about 3 times a day.
Yeah.
So if I can find any cool Pokemon on the way, or just Pidgeys to go to the meat grinder, you know, they're made into burgers, just so you know.
Pidgey burgers.
So, you know, I'll waste those 5 or 6 just catching Pidgeys and Rattatas just to kind of level myself up and prepare for power leveling, things like that. So I think they really need to up that. We forgot to talk about candies.
Oh, yes, candies.
So you do evolve Pokemon. So you catch Pokemon. They have a combat power. They have health, attacks.
2 attacks.
2 attacks.
1 basic and 1 charged or focused attack.
So they have a max combat power. This is all random generated numbers.
Oh, RNG.
To the combat power is random generated when you go find them. It's kind of based on your player level, but the health and stuff's kind of oriented. There's sites that calculate things, percentages.
If they're still up.
The calculators are not the vision like tells you where the Pokemon are at. They shut those down.
Not the Poke Radar.
Yeah, but
sorry.
So you have the ability to power up Pokemon using Stardust and candies, or you have the chance to, or not the chance, you have the ability to evolve them using candies. You get candies every time you catch a Pokemon, and then there's also the option to transfer them.
Yep. Send them to said grinder, Professor Willow, I think is his name.
Yes.
Which I'm really curious what he does with all of those Pidgeys. I really think he's got a side business going on.
Team Rocket.
Oh, that'd be a great story.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So evolving gets you experience. I haven't
tons of experience.
I haven't powered up a Pokemon yet.
I've been told not to. Everybody seems to have the same mindset, is that like you don't spend your Stardust unless you get this godly pull of a Pokemon.
Yeah.
And most of the time you'll see on average like, you know, 1800, 1900 20, 21, 2200, 2300 Pokemon in gyms.
Yeah.
And like, you know, those guys got really lucky either on an egg hatch or on a capture, and then calculated out what the total CP would be and just dumped what Stardust they had in there, because at this point, why not?
Yeah.
And I totally understand that. But, you know, catching like a level 10 Pidgey and evolving it all the way to a Pidgeot and then dumping in Stardust is not going to be that great. You'll probably maybe get, depending on your level, like, what, maybe like 900 to 1,000? Depends. I mean, I'm trainer level 12 right now.
Because every time you evolve, it doubles the CP.
Right.
From what I noticed. So if you're doing a 10 and then you double, you're not.
Yeah, it's not that great. So, yeah, sadly, the fodder guys do get used as, again, fodder and grinder meat. However, you need them.
Yeah, you transfer them, save their candies.
Yeah, get the candy, and then pop a lucky egg and evolve like 20 at once.
Basically, you basically are grinding. It doesn't feel like grinding so much.
But it is.
Yeah. That's why I think they should up the Pokeballs, because your first, 15 levels, or 12, being generous, 12 levels is really just grinding those low Pokemon. Mm-hmm. So you need to catch a crap ton of them to get to the point where you can even start doing gyms effectively now. If people are ahead of you anyways. If you started with it, you might have been...
Yeah, you might be way ahead of us. We started late in the game. So, I started 2 weeks late. You started...
way late. I was 2 months late, a month and a half late.
Something like that, yeah.
So... Yeah, it's tough.
It's a little tough. Back on the positive side of things, though, exercise.
Yeah.
Let's talk. But it's great. It's awesome. The Pokemon haunt I go to, since it's kind of like a semi-historical area, or they claim there's a lot of historical buildings in that area. It's great because you just walk around all those places and you're out and about. You're moving. You're
tons of people.
You're bullshitting with people. You're talking. You're laughing. You're having a good time. It's all good. And me, I totally need to get out of the house.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a hermit sometimes, and I know you can relate to that too every now and then.
Socially awkward is what I put it as.
Well, sure, yeah, you're doing better, but he's really bad. But no, the exercise is great, and just even something simple like that, something simple exercise such as walking has tons of health benefits. I mean, there's tons of benefits based on just standing at your desk as opposed to sitting at it at work.
Yeah.
And so a little extra foot movement and whatnot, hey, sign me up. I'm down for it. It's totally cool.
And plus, you don't even focus on exercising. So those people who are like, oh, it makes me exercise. Oh, my God, my life is horrible.
I'm sweating.
I want to play Pokemon without exercise. But there's cheats to it with drones and RC cars. But we're not going to tell you this.
Yeah, we're not condoning that.
But it gets you outdoors. For those people who are complaining about, going to areas and playing Pokemon, there is an extent you can go where it's disrespectful to do things, but it gets people out to places and see things they haven't. I didn't know there was a giant polar bear mural right next to my work until I started playing Pokemon Go, and I'm like, holy crap, right across the bloody street is a freaking mural, thanks to the Pokestop.
That is kind of cool. You do get to learn a little bit about your area if you're not very adventurous. I know when I was visiting friends in Seattle, we went a totally different way than we normally did because they were all playing, I wasn't, and there was a couple sightings of Pokemon in that area. And it was cool to see a park I didn't know existed in that part of town.
You go around town, you find new things, tons of different things that you just don't know. You meet people, you explore. It's just insane what people are discovering in their own towns. Mm-hmm. And it's cool because they're marking it for other people to find.
Yeah. Facebook's blowing up with sightings here and there, and in the groups, you hear people say, oh, there's something over here, or I caught something this way, There's tons of stuff like that.
It's really awesome to tie games in with virtual reality or reality.
Augmented.
Yeah. So it's nice to tie the two. It's like making things that you hate in your life sometimes. Exercise can be a burden depending on your times and how healthy you are or whatever. But making it fun, making it enjoyable, especially giving you an insight to your city. Especially if you're just moved somewhere. I just thought of this, but if you just move somewhere, it's a great way to figure out what's around you.
It's a great way to figure out the bad parts of town, too.
Yeah, that's true. There are stories. So I guess we'll get into the story a little bit. There are bad things that happen. Don't trespass.
Oh, please don't. Don't drive.
Yeah. We just saw a Canadian video of a helicopter spotting a Pokemon
Go player at 3 a.m, erratically driving around, which to give them credit, it was 3 in the morning, so there's not a lot of traffic going on. However, it did prompt them being pulled over, and they could have really gotten a couple fines for distracted driving.
Yeah.
However, that cop probably had a good sense of humor, and that was the highlight of his night. And they got lucky.
The helicopter pilot sure didn't get
Oh,
it.
yeah, he thought it was funny.
Yeah. So it's not a good thing to do, especially like stopping in a highway, stopping outside people's houses. You're better off going for a walk.
Yeah,
don't
because
drive.
tons of people go for a walk and then like they'll stop and fiddle with their phone. Like, if I see that by my window or by work or something, I don't think any secondly of it. Now I joke, it's like, oh, they're probably playing Pokemon.
Yeah.
But before that, I didn't care. Like, it's like, oh, just maybe I got a text message or a phone call they had to take or something. Like, whoop-de-doo, whatever, who doesn't have to?
Yeah. Now a car creepily swerving places and stuff kind of weirds me out by my house if I see them stop in the middle of the road. It's like, what are they doing?
Well, you out in the boondocks, I could totally get that.
Well, just anywhere. I'd just be
true.
kind of like, if I'm walking down the street and then a car just like stops in the middle of the road next to me, I'm gonna be like, all right, what is that dude doing? Just humans in general are a little bit creepy.
And it's sad that the game came out when it did in such a heightened level of like panic and terror.
Yeah.
Because with all the shootings recently, with all of the, I don't want to say terrorist acts, but they pretty much are, because anything harming the public safety is considered a terrorist act.
Yeah.
With all those things, it's made people more alert. So society's take on the game, those who don't play have a problem with it because they're scared. And I think your wife made a good point on that. People are scared of what they don't understand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a massive influx of people roaming about with their phones in all these places really scares the crap out of people who've never played or don't understand it. And people, they're not very tact at doing things.
No, they're so enveloped in the game, even when it gives you the warnings to pay attention to your surroundings, that it does cause some problems.
And so, I mean, there's a level of disrespect at times. I'm not saying everyone, but there are cases, like I saw a video with, I don't mind people going to like a veterans memorial and getting the Pokestops there. If they're walking through, they spot it, they might learn about it. Great, that's absolutely brilliant. But bringing camp, like a pop-up tents or chairs, things like that, it's like you can do it at a normal park, that's fine. Veterans park, no,
well, and that's the thing too, like the cemetery nearby where I work, like, I have seen people who are clearly not dressed for a funeral service make an appearance. And I speak with some of the cemetery crew here and there and whatnot, and they'll say like, oh yeah, a couple Pokemon Go players, they're usually pretty good about not disturbing anything, but and that's fine, as long as they're being respectful about it. But like, if you see something like that, like like a rally or like a funeral service or like a procession or something that's clearly something that's supposed to be like an intimate thing or something for those people, try not to pop in, try to be respectful about it.
Don't be disrespectful and use common sense. Like, literally.
Wait, what now?
Yeah, it's not so common at times, but I mean, it's only rules that apply. I mean, I figured it wouldn't be so hard to get, but some people it doesn't click, so don't be disrespectful. But it's everywhere in the city, so you don't have to go to those places where some places should probably be removed. I got bugged by the guy in the parking lot where my Pokestop is. I was just walking slightly up the shipping lane to get close to it, not knowing I could just walk on the grass adjacent to it at the time, and he's like, yeah, the park's over there. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm not hurting anything, just walking through a parking lot. But people are going to be butthurt no matter what.
And that's probably it too. You probably had somebody walk by, probably had somebody litter, probably do something stupid to ruin it for everybody else, because the old saying, one bad apple spoils the bunch, is sadly true in a situation like this. And so, as a community, enjoying this game, enjoying this activity, I should say.
Huge community.
Massive community. We have the opportunity to show the world that we're not lazy freaking slobs. I haven't cussed yet, have I?
No.
Oh,
and we are, actually. I'm pretty sure there are, of course, the bad cases stand out.
Oh, yeah.
But as a whole, we're doing a great job showing the world that gaming's not bad, mobile's not bad. that we can get out and exercise as gamers or people who are into this virtual reality.
I mean, come on, what person doesn't have a game on their phone?
Yeah.
I really challenge people to prove me otherwise.
Even those people are like solitaire, casinos, or slots.
Everybody has a game, and games are healthy. Games are good. Games do wonderful things for our brains, which we'll go into that on a separate podcast.
Yeah.
Because I based it off the research of an author I read and I saw a keynote speak with her, and it was great. Anyway, I'm diverting here. So Nanaki, how do you pronounce it?
Nicolantics.
Nicolantic?
Because Niantic.
Oh,
I think of the periodic table as the Ni and then antic, so Nicolantic. But it's Niantic.
For science.
Yeah, for science. So a lot of buzz about Niantic is about them listening to comments and suggestions. Someone doesn't like something and they're like, "You F you, Niantic, for not listening to my suggestion because they're all pieces of shit," and things like that for not
you
listening.
broke the curse one.
Yeah, so it's like, of course, if you're going to be a rude a-hole about it, no one's going to listen to
no one ever
you.
does.
Yeah, and it's like, if you got a movement of saying, hey, we need this feature in a forum, they might listen to you. But one comment doesn't really stand out in thousands, especially when there's millions where it's like, I think a week or so ago it was like 75 million. Now it's way above that. You said it was like Google Play reported 100 million or something like that.
Yeah, but 100 million plus downloads on Google Play.
So it's like one comment out of 100 million. Are you really going to stand out? No.
No. That's pretty much it being a tear in the ocean.
And being, board game developer and YouTube and stuff like that, I understand the comments get missed and there's too much, and you can't take everyone's criticism. You just, at times, you can't listen to all of it because then you won't have time to do other stuff. Or
You'll go and
fix
sing
things.
too.
Yeah. And if you made everyone happy, it would be probably
a horrible game,
which would make no one happy. So
yeah, absolute horrible game. But they are trying, and everybody has problems on launch, because that's a given nowadays. And let's be honest, like, that's a heck. How are you supposed to expect that great of a turnout?
Yeah, it was a huge success, way more than they're expecting.
I'd see that as a good thing that you had day one problems, because that shows it did well and it's going to do well. And they did a good job of patching things up when they can. And yeah, they're working on the nearby sighting system and tracking.
That's the only thing, is getting mad at the sites and saying, I think it's cheating.
Yeah.
When it's not, because your tracking's broken. At least when I started, you had 3 feet for everything.
Which was
measured by feet, like individual image of feet.
From what I had heard, the feet were represented in kilometers. So like 1 foot was like 1 kilometer, 2 feet was like 5, and 3 was 10, or some crazy thing like that.
I believe sightings are up to 700 feet. So in kilometers, I don't know.
This shows how much I know.
Yeah, in sightings, I don't know. That's what I heard though. Like, everything's rumor. They keep changing things.
Yeah,
in the distances.
They are really vague on things, which is fun at times and then super annoying at other times. The tracking system, I will agree, does need some work. When I saw that they were knocking down those sites that were helping people find Pokemon, especially role players, like, it kind of seemed like that was more of like, well, I'm not playing with you anymore.
Yeah.
And like, take the ball and walk away. Like, really? Like, you should be encouraging those sites to do something like that, or using that as a motivator to increase your own system within. Yeah. Like, make it not necessarily, state of the art, but better.
Yeah, I know it was put in server strain because they had huge amount of API calls, from the sites every time you scan or whatever. But
you're using fancy words again.
Well, yeah, it's software engineering. But I still think they should have kept it around. It should be less harsh on them, because I don't think it's cheating. It really helped. It was parallel with the game. It worked side by side very well. And while their tracking was in a crazy state, they should have left it up at least.
Taking away was really disheartening.
Yeah, I mean, I like what they're doing with it, with like nearby people have already seen these Pokemon. This is where you go. Sightings were okay. There's no indicator where they're at though. Still.
Well, sightings, like, I look at my sightings and it's like, okay, 3 blades of grass and a Pokemon. Like, the hell does that mean? Like, am I in such a rural area that I can't find anything?
Yeah.
And these might pop up?
Yeah, it
needs some work.
And I'm glad they're trying different things. They've changed it 3-4 times now that the game's been out already. Yeah. So I'm glad they're trying things. It's just a little difficult that you don't have anything working currently as they're trying new new styles. I wish they had a core working system and then added on top of it.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
But that's really the only thing besides the small bugs that they're promptly fixing. So that's great. But as for them listening to suggestion stuff, who knows? We don't know. There hasn't been enough updates or enough time. But I'm pretty sure they're going to be listening because, I mean, obviously they want the game to keep going and listen.
Which kind of jumps into, like, our suggestions or improvements we could see. Like, for me, I'd like to see, maybe, like, there's tons of gyms out there. However, they're dominated by day one, week one players, which is a little intimidating for someone who doesn't have really strong Pokemon. I'd like to see... maybe like a tier for the big boys and a tier for the newcomers.
Yeah. That
would be really cool to see. I know they talked about eventually doing one-on-one battles, outside of a gym.
Yeah.
With like your buddies. So like you could totally hang out at like, the burger joint and battle each other if there's no gym around.
Yeah.
As opposed to finding a burger joint that has a gym.
Post a dual flag and...
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah. That would be kind of fun. I know they talked about integrating a trade system. Like you could do in the old games, which would be great, but at the same time...
Way overpowered?
A little bit. I mean, somebody who wants to quit the game could just toss a ton of their super powerful Pokemon to one dude, and all of a sudden, hey, it's great.
Yeah.
I think if you did that, you would have to go back to the old school system of getting badges and getting Pokemon to listen to you and obey you.
Yeah.
Based on that. Because if you give, like, a level 1 trainer, like, a 2,000 CP Dragonite, tell me how that's fair in any stretch.
You just grind, or
you would
power
just
level.
Destroy people.
Yeah.
I mean, just absolutely destroy people. Which, hey, if you're into that, cool, whatevs. Me, get old pretty quick.
Yeah. I would hate to see it. Trendy would be nice, but there would have to be a lot of limitations, and I just don't think it would be worth it at this time. They don't even have PvP yet.
Exactly. Which should be fun.
Any other recommendations? Because I have a few myself.
No, go right ahead.
One, instead of the nearby sightings, I would like a compass that kind of gave you an indicator of what direction you could head, and if you tapped it, it kind of pull up like the nearby kind of things. Like, oh, these Pokemon are nearby, but it had a compass, little dots of ones that are closer. It wouldn't tell you what Pokemon, but it'd give you like little dots, like this bigger dot means it's really close, and the little ones and
kind of like a hot cold system.
Yeah, in the east are like little dots. You can go over there and find them, but you had a nearby, and you had to guess kind of which one. But it would give you a hint of where Pokemon directions would be. So you'd be like, let's chance it. Let's go over here next floor. And you're like, oh crap, it was a stupid Paris. And no one wants a dang Paris.
They're delicious. What are you talking about? You serve them with butter? And...
Not a seafood guy. The other one would be for rural areas to kind of base Pokestops and stuff, not just on historical pieces or art. Kind of do it on population density.
Yeah.
A little bit to allow people in rural areas to enjoy the game, because hands down, industrial areas, metropolis, whatever you want to, I don't know how you describe it.
Major metropolitan.
Yeah. Way more advantage. You have constant lures, spawning, incense, Pokestops everywhere. Where I live, there's 3 total. They're all grouped in one bloody area, and I could drive 5 minutes to get there and sit there for a while, but
what's the point?
Yeah, to me, I want to walk somewhere. So I think of trying to avoid houses, crossroads, focus on population density, kind of expand it out. And the same with gyms. It seems like gyms are so freaking closely packed together.
Or so far apart.
Yeah, or, it's like, oh, hey, there's art, and there's usually going to be art really close. And so, look, there's 2 bloody gyms next to each other. So I think if they kind of figured those out, hands down, it'd probably be the only game on the market that'd be kicking ass.
Oh, yeah, hands down.
I mean, it already is, but, it would be like one of the perfect AR pieces. So, but that's all I have.
Yeah. One quick thing we forgot to mention that just popped into my head is this is actually, it's a free-to-play game, which we should have mentioned from the start. So you don't actually have to spend any money to buy the game. And it actually is probably the closest thing to free-to-play that I've encountered in a while.
Yeah.
Because I've not been tempted once to shell out a microtransaction at all. And as you guys know, I'm guilty of doing that. Not a whale. Don't accuse me of that. But I have done it a couple times and a fair amount in the past. And so it's really cool to actually see a free-to-play game that's not like really hammering you with the necessity to, or the temptation.
Or spamming you with ads.
Because it's like, I can get everything I need at these Pokestops.
Yeah.
And as long as you routinely visit one, which, sorry, man, you have the opportunity to get everything, quote, you need. Things like storage upgrades and whatnot, yeah, those would be nice, but they're not mandatory.
I grind up so many Pokemon, it's not necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, the backpack maybe, because I get so many bloody revives and potions compared to
Yeah,
Pokeballs.
I discard those stuff like crazy because I don't gym enough, but those who do spend a lot of time in the gyms probably use those pretty regularly.
Yeah. See, the one thing with that, though, is you don't get Pokemon if you're not near stops and stuff, because they don't spawn that much. So I don't get to use them a lot. So it's kind of balanced that way. Unfortunately, it's kind of weird to say, and it's an unfortunate balance. But so yeah, I'm kind of stuck. But I'm not tempted at all because, like I said, there's no Pokemon to catch at times. So I haven't been tempted, although I would like to go freaking crazy on Pokeballs. I know they wouldn't last, so I'm not going to spend $5, whatever on it. So that's the great thing. It seems more free to play. Mm-hmm. Nothing's necessary.
Yeah, because it's engaging, but it's not like enveloping completely. Yeah. I am the Pokemon master. Exactly. All hail me, Zod.
Gotta catch 'em all.
Gotta catch 'em all. Gym Pokemon?
Pokemans.
I know that wasn't the right one, but... so on that note, we'll probably wrap it up. And so be smart, be safe when catching, quote, them all.
Don't drive, don't trespass.
Yeah, please don't be stupid.
Play smart. You it's weird to think, but it affects the rest of us.
Oh, totally.
Your actions affect. You have the right to do things, but your actions... count for the rest of us.
Yeah, see yourself as an ambassador for the community.
A Poke ambassador.
Congratulations, your one promotion you'll probably ever get.
Get out of you.
I know it's mine. So until then, this is Mr. Dead Scott.
And Smithus.
And we're going to say bye-bye.
Peace out.
Catch you later.